Hello and welcome back to the channel. So we have a cool video here for you. We're doing a little review on the Lenovo Legion Y27q-20 gaming monitor. We're going to go fairly in depth. I'm going to show you as much about this, talk about this monitor as much as I can. I noticed there's not a lot of reviews out there for this monitor, and especially not a lot talking about the gaming experience with this monitor. So we're going to look at some PC gaming and Xbox gaming, and we're going to talk about all the features of the monitor. I think for the price point, this thing is absolutely fantastic, and I'm going to be sad sending it back, just like I usually am with anything Lenovo sends over to me. Speaking of which, huge shout out. Thank you again to Lenovo for sending over yet another product for me to be able to get my hands on, to try, and to let you guys know what I think of it. I wouldn't be able to do these without their support. So before we jump into this, a couple other things Lenovo sent over that I want to talk about a little bit, and that's a pair of Legion headphones and a mouse pad and a gaming mouse. So let's take a look at those really briefly here in the beginning of the review. I just want to talk about those a little bit and acknowledge those here in the review, and then we'll jump over into the more exciting part of the gaming monitor review and check that out. So let's check out the mouse, the headphones, and the mouse pad they sent over, and then we'll get back to the monitor review. So first we've got the Legion H500 Pro 7.1 surround sound gaming headset. Absolutely fantastic sound from here. Even used it with the 3D audio in the PlayStation 5 and used it with Dolby Atmos headset on the Xbox. Worked great and had no issues there. The most important thing to me with headsets are that they are comfortable and I can wear them for a long time, and these things are extremely comfortable, and at $60 I found them to be probably one of the best feeling pair of headphones for that price point. The Legion M500 RGB gaming mouse was a very comfortable mouse once I got used to it. It's extremely ergonomic, has a huge curve to it, but it does have simplistic buttons, easy to use, adjust your sensitivity and everything on the fly. You can download software to make further adjustments and really calibrate the mouse how you want. It does have an optional weight on the bottom that you can remove or add. It's fully magnetic, very easy to do on the fly, and was pretty cool. I personally liked having the weight in there. They also sent me over the gaming mouse pad, and I lost some of my footage for this, so I grabbed the stock images, but this thing was really cool. No issues with it, like rippling up, curling up on the edges. It laid nice and flat, extra large, and about 16 bucks. This thing was really cool as well. All right, so coming back over here to the monitor, the first thing I want to do is just run down through the specs really quickly with you, and then we'll get into a little bit more of the meat of the review for the monitor. So we are a 1440p or QHD resolution here, fantastic. 1001 contrast ratio, 350 nit peak brightness, which I will say is fantastic for standard definition. Absolutely gorgeous display, but this display also supports HDR, and just like any gaming monitor I've tested that's under 600 nits, it's just really not bright enough to pop HDR the way you would want to, so you may or may not really use it anyway, but it is a great feature that worked very well. I didn't have any problem with it. It's just that the gaming monitors tend to lack that brightness. I have tried monitors that were 600 or 800 nit that had HDR, and they were gorgeous, but under 600, they just don't tend to do that well. But it does have the function. We have wide viewing angles because we do have a gorgeous IPS monitor here with great color accuracy, 16:9 ratio, 1 millisecond response time, 165 hertz display, so gaming up to 165 FPS depending on what your system supports. 16.7 million colors, 3 USB 3.0 ports, and that's something I love too, the pass-through for USB. I love being able to throw my camera or my mic or whatever, plug it in right next to my monitor and not have to dig into my main build and plug in. It's just a lot easier, and it worked really well here. And we're at about 15 pounds on this monitor. It's a little bit hefty of a monitor, but it is designed really well. I love the stand. It's very sturdy. So speaking of the stand, it is a nice design, and it has the up-down, like the up-down functionality. You can swivel it back and forth, so you can get a little bit, move it around a little bit for you, and then you've got your tilt. So it really does go pretty much any direction you need to make things happen and to be comfortable for wherever you're going to want to be gaming at. Excellent, didn't have any problem with that fitting right on my desk with everything else. Now, like I was mentioning, the HDR can be a little bit lackluster on these type of things, but it did work. Running my Xbox One on here was great. There's going to be another piece of this video. I'm going to show you this plugged in on my PC and to my Xbox, and we'll show it running the 120 on Xbox, and we'll show it running on the PC as well with Assassin's Creed. So we're going to dig in a little bit and show you a little bit more of that kind of stuff. So before we move on into the rest of the review with some of the gaming, the HDR, having this thing plugged into the PC and the Xbox and everything, I just wanted to throw out there again, this has just been a fantastic monitor to use. I'm really enjoying it. You'll see later on in the video it supports G-Sync, even though it's a FreeSync monitor. And I have 3 other gaming monitors, and they all will do the flicker in G-Sync when you're loading into a game, or of course you have lower frame rates and things are kicking on and off. There's various reasons for that flicker with G-Sync on FreeSync, but I didn't experience it on this monitor. The FreeSync on this monitor working with G-Sync, it's one of the best that I've tried. I don't think I saw it flicker once with the Xbox or with the PC, as to where my other VA panels, my curved Gigabyte, my curved MSI, Spectre, they all will flicker some with G-Sync, either in loading or in game when the frame rate's too erratic and stuff like that. And I just didn't have any of that with this monitor. It worked really well. And later in the review here, I'll show you G-Sync. All right, let's jump over into the rest of the review and check this thing, check this out plugged in. Let's take a look at the menu and a couple of games running on here, and then we'll wrap it up. All right, so moving on into our menu here on the monitor, you can see we have our model, the Y27q-20, 1440p, 165 hertz, variable refresh rate, and full range. This is great IPS display. So moving on to showing you the settings, you have your brightness, your DCR, saturation, contrast, dark boost, and scaling options. And moving down to the next set of options that we have here, it's just going to be our color temperatures, typical, cool user, normal, and warm, sRGB, and low blue light. Down to the next set of options, we've got our language, transparency, OSD timeout, USB charge for charging while the monitor being off, TP select for 1.2 or 1.4, and reset all settings. Moving down to the next option, you've got game mode, which I did not use, overdrive, which I left to normal, and the refresh rate number if you'd like to show the refresh rate on the monitor. And then your final set of options you'll have here is for your source, auto source, DisplayPort, and HDMI. Alright, so as I was saying, we do have our G-Sync enabled. That's for full screen only on here. Working great with this monitor, as I was mentioning earlier. And then of course we are set to 1440p PC, that'd be our native, and 165 hertz. Everything working great with that, had no issues. With this monitor running FreeSync and G-Sync together, it was really, really good. So here we have Assassin's Creed. This is without HDR on. We're going to show you both here. I'll try to do better setups in the future to capture cleaner images for you here, but this was the best I had. So switching over to HDR, you can see more color pop, of course, but when you're sitting here in real life, the brightness just is lacking a good bit, as is typical with gaming monitors less than 600 nits, but you definitely can use it, and it definitely does add the color to the picture. And here's a side-by-side for you, non-HDR on the left and HDR over on the right. And there we are running around with a little bit of HDR there. So it worked great in both modes. I typically don't use HDR on these type of gaming monitors, but it's definitely an option there for you to use with your Xbox, PlayStation, or PC, whatever you would like. So here's a little bit of Call of Duty running on my PC as well. Everything was a great, super snappy, low latency experience, exactly what I expected from that 1 millisecond IPS, and it felt absolutely wonderful playing Call of Duty on here. I didn't have any issues whatsoever. Alright, so what I want to do is move us over to the Xbox Series X. Let me just show you the settings really quickly here. And I can show you that we can be our 1440p 120 on this monitor, which is great. You can run Call of Duty, Cold War, or Warzone, or Rogue Company. There's quite a lot of games that will run 120 frames per second. You can't allow 4K. You do get the variable refresh rate. Absolutely fantastic. Super, super smooth experience on here. This console paired well with this monitor, and I'll say the Series X, man, it's really just been treating me great. What a great console. So here you can see right inside the game we are enabled on our 120 hertz, and then disabled on ray tracing. That's just locked down that way when you're running 120. So we got 1440p 120 running from the Series X to the Legion monitor. And this was a fantastic experience as well. Really been enjoying 120 hertz mode on the console, and I've been testing it on other monitors, and it definitely did pair well with this monitor and ran great. All right, that's gonna get us to the end of the review, guys. I hope this helped you out. If you're looking at purchasing this monitor, I highly recommend it. It worked great with my PC, it worked great with my Xbox for 120 frames per second, 1440p. HDR works, even though for me, I want brighter displays when it comes to that. FreeSync and G-Sync was working fantastic. The resolution downscaling, where this can accept that 4K signal and down it to 1440p, is also really cool. You're able to do that with Xbox and PC if you really wanted to. Yeah, it's just been a really great experience with this gaming monitor, and I really enjoyed my time with it. I don't really have any negatives to say about it. It worked great while I had it. Love the stand, love the design, love the IPS display, and it was just a great experience on my PC and my Xbox. So thanks a lot for coming to check out the video. I hope it helped you out. I really appreciate it. If you haven't already, think about subscribing to the channel, give this video a thumbs up, and ring that notification bell so you know when I drop new videos. All right, once again, thanks for coming to check it out, and I'll see you guys in the next one.